Good day. The topic is business, the purpose of business activity. So when talking about the purpose of business activity, we're talking about reasons why a business is being set up. But before we go further, what's a business? A business is any activity that involves buying and selling of goods and services. So that means there's this activity, there's this operation that has occurred, which at the end of it all will involve you to buy from a supplier or for you to sell to a customer. So if these occur, then business has taken place. So here this business activity combines organized factors of production, that is labor, example given, labor and capital, to produce goods and services for consumers. So whatever activity you do, it means that you've combined the factors of production. And what are the factors of production? We're talking about resources that helps in the production of goods and services. These are all called factors of production. So that means you've combined land, you've combined labor, capital, and enterprise to produce goods and services, which I am highlighting here. Then, what are the purpose? Why do we even go into business? That is what we mean by the purpose. We go into business for different reasons. So we're talking about the objectives of business. Some people go into business because they want to make profit. Some people go into business because they want added value. Some people go into business because they want expansion, which is growth. Some people think about survival. Some people think about service to the community. So I'm going to take it one at a time. So we start with profit. So profit is one of the objectives of a business. What is profit? Profit is your total revenue minus your total cost. So that means your total revenue TR, which is your price multiplied by the quantity of products you sold. So profit is your total revenue minus your total cost. And when we talk about your total revenue, we're talking about the price of a product multiplied by the quantity sold minus your total cost. And what's your total cost? The amount of money you've spent, that's your fixed cost, and plus your variable cost. The amount of money you spend to ensure that the production is available. That is what we mean by the total cost. Like I said, your total cost is your cost is the amount of money you've spent to ensure that that product is available for sale. So you've combined all the amount of money you spend, combining all these resources, the land, the labor, the capital, the enterprise, all the amount of money you spend to combine these things together is what we call the labor cost, which is the cost. So your cost, the amount you spend on land, on capital, on labor, and enterprise makes up your cost. This is what you take away from your total revenue to make profit. So an objective of a business, that's the aim of a business, could be profit maximization. So it means that the business is trying to put all these resources together, and at the end of it all, its revenue must exceed the cost. That is how the business will be able to make profit. So profit implies that there's a return on your investment, and that means the amount of money you've spent is lesser than the amount of money you make in terms of revenue. That is profit. So a business might be thinking of making profit, which is an objective. So we go to added value. Added value is not profit, but added value could make a business it could help a business to increase its profit. That is what added value helps to do. So what is added value? Improvement on your business activity, improvement on your product, improvement on your service. So things that you need to put together to ensure that when you call a price for customers, they would not hesitate to buy. That means you could increase the price of your product, you can increase the price of your service because you've improved the product in terms of maybe the quality, in terms of the customer care service, in terms of the packaging. So all these ones, when they are done to a product, it could also increase the profitability of that product. So added value is just an improvement that a business could make on its product or service. So It allows a business to make more profits. So added value is not profit, rather it could help a business to make more profits. The third one, growth. When we talk about growth, we're talking about expansion of a business. So some business might think of expanding. Now they've made profit. They've really made profit and they've added value. So the next thing they think about is how to expand their business. So expansion could be internal or external. So it is internal when you are expanding organically. That means you are using the resources you have to expand. That means you are whatever you all your expansion is done with your own resources. That is internal or organic. It means you are using the resources you have to expand the business. Then we have the external, which is integration. So external means you are using other people, other businesses' resources for your expansion. It means you are either merging or acquired by a business. So it means one, either you are into a merger or a business has acquired you or you are acquiring another business. That's why we call it integration. So a business could think about expansion, which is growth. A business could be aiming at expanding its tentacle. So that's another way, that's another objective of a business. And the fourth one, it's survival. And when we talk about survival, we're talking about continuing doing the business. You know, there are different situations that might occur, which a business would not be able to think about making profit, added value, or even expansion. Different situations might occur economically, externally, that would make a business not to think about profit, rather think about continuing, staying in the business. Example, during the COVID, a lot of businesses go down, shut down during the COVID, but other businesses, they try to, they use whatever they have, they try to plan on how to, to maintain their sales. Even if they're not making profit, they don't want to close their shops. So they try to still be in existence. So that is what we mean by survival. And for existing businesses, they might also think about survival when it becomes like external, like economical issues. Oh, there's recession. When there's recession, businesses might not make profit because at that time, at that point in time, a lot of people might be out of job. So when a lot of people are out of job, that means the income level will fall. As a result of this, sales might also fall. So these might not make a business to make profit. So at this time, instead of a business to think of making profit, it will be thinking of survival. Another way to think, another way to talk about survival is for a startup business. A startup business is a business that is just setting up right now. So a new business needs to convince customers because those customers outside there are customers of existing businesses. So you need to convince them, and it might take a lot of time. It might take a long period of time to convince them to start patronizing you. So as a result of this, you don't think of making profit at the beginning, rather how you are going to be able to convince your customers, how you are going to be able to survive, how you're going to be able to finish, about how you're going to be able to scale through the storming period, because before it becomes a norming period. So how you're going to scale through that storm is what you think about. And scaling through that storm means you've survived the storm. It means you've survived the threat that you might be having around because of the existing businesses. So a new business could also think about survival as a result of starting up and trying to convince customers. And existing business can also think about survival, especially when there is economic meltdown, like recession. Then we go to service to the community, which is the fifth one. For service to community, it means some businesses don't think about making profit. Rather, they want to help the society. They want to make sure that the society at large is in a better shape by giving scholarship to students around the society where they set up, by maybe tar the road, construct roads, bring up street lights, mount street lights on streets, and ensure that there's less pollution. So these are ways a business could also think about service to community. Then we have stakeholders. So whatever business we do, stakeholders are always there. And who are these stakeholders? Stakeholders are a group of people that have interest in whatever our business activities are. So they are there. They want to see how we work. They want to see how we operate. Not because they really love our business, but because they have interest in what we do. So their interests could be different. Their interests are different anyway. Their interests are different. Examples of stakeholders. Let me give examples of stakeholders and we know what interest they have in the business activity. One example of a stakeholder is the government. For government, what interest do government have in the business activity? Government wants to ensure that businesses are dealing legitimately. They are doing a legal business. They are doing whatever they do, whatever their operations are, it is legal. So that's the first thing. And the second one about government interest is to ensure that businesses pay their tax. So these are why government would have interest: taxes and legal operations. So these are for government. Then we have the employees. The employees are also part of our stakeholders. Why do they have interest in what we do? They have interest in what we do because one, they want to ensure that there's job security for them, that the job is always safe for them. Like, oh, the next 3-4 years, I'll still be in this job. That's number one. Two, they want increase in salary. So they want an improvement in their welfare package. So these are the interests an employee would have in a business activity. Then the third one is the customers. The customers are the kingpin of the business. What interest do they have in the business activity? They want cheaper products. They want it at a very low price, affordable price, and also they want quality. So for the customers, they want affordable prices and quality products. Then the fifth one, the bank. What interest does the bank have in the business activity? For the banks, they want you to be their customers, yes. Two, they want to be sure that whenever you want a credit facility, you are credit worthy. That means whenever they want to give you a loan, they believe you can pay back. So that's what we mean by credit worthy. So a bank will also have interest in your business activity because they want to be sure that you are not a high risk in terms of when they give you a loan. And also they want you to be their customer. So for the bank, like I said earlier, they want to be sure that you're not a high risk for them in terms of giving you when they give you a loan. Then go to organizing scarce resources. Already we know that land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur are the factors of production which we need as a business to be able to produce goods and services for our consumers. Most of the times, these resources are not always enough. That's what we mean by scarcity. So there's scarcity, which is what an economic problem. So there's scarcity of land, there's scarcity of labor, there's scarcity of enterprise, there's scarcity of capital, which is scarcity itself. So what is scarcity? Scarcity means unlimited ones and limited resources. So for the limited resources, we're talking about the factors of production. They are not always enough to produce goods and services. That's why goods and services are expensive. If they are free, if they are not scarce, we don't have to even pay for them. But in as much as we are paying for them, it means they are scarce. So the problem of this society, it's not money, rather it is scarcity. Because there's scarcity, that is why we have to strive. We have to strive to buy a product. If it's not scarce, like the air we breathe in, it's free because everybody can take it. Everybody can have it. But resources that we use are scarce because they are expensive to get. We have to pay for them. If they are free, then there's no scarcity. So that means the problem of the society, it's not money. Rather, the problem is scarcity. So that is for limited resources. Then for the unlimited ones, these are our desires. Needs are what we can't live without. We cannot survive without them, like water, food, clothing, shelter. These things, our lives depend, our living depends on them. But for the wants, Our lives or living does not depend on them. We could live without them. We could continue our existence without the wants. I'm talking about the desires, like holiday in Bahamas, gold, diamond, luxurious cars, gigantic houses, expensive holidays, lucrative business, lucrative dealings, and the rest. We can do without them. So these are wants. So because we will continue to find the latest, we will continue to to want the latest. That is why it is what unlimited. So our wants are unlimited because we will continue to find the best until we are off. Until we are gone. So that means we continue to find the latest. When we have the latest phone now, the next time another phone comes out, we want to buy. That is why our wants are unlimited. Then we go to making choices. Since there's scarcity, it means that certain things cannot be afforded at a given point in time. So it means we have to decide. We have to make a choice. So making a choice means that there's going to be what an opportunity cost. So what is an opportunity cost? Yeah, there's a cost of making decisions whereby the best alternative is forgotten. So because there's scarcity, because we cannot have everything we need or we want, we need to make a choice. So in the course of making a choice, we're going to sacrifice some for others. So the cost of sacrificing certain products for another is what we mean by opportunity cost. So opportunity cost means I have this, I need this, I need that, but I could only have this. So the one I have, the one I'm choosing at this point in time, based on maybe the importance, which is what the scale of preference, based on my scale of preference, the one I choose becomes the real cost. The one I'm letting go, at least temporarily or for now, is the opportunity cost. So the next best alternative that is forgone is what we call the opportunity cost. We are having opportunity cost because there's scarcity. We have to make a choice. So making choices means that we can't have everything at the same time. So that is why there's always the next best alternative forgone. Another example of opportunity cost is taking a business course and taking a biology course. So if you are choosing business, it means you're not going to take biology. So not taking biology makes biology to become the opportunity cost. So that's another example of opportunity cost. Then we go to specialization. So because there are limited resources, we need to organize them the most efficient way. So since there is scarcity, what do you have to do as a business? You have to allocate them efficiently. You have to manage them. You have to organize them efficiently. And one of the best way to organize or to arrange things efficiently or to be efficient is to specialize. And what is specialization? Specialization means the concentration of an individual on a particular task, the concentration of a country on a particular production. That is what specialization is. So what does division of labor means? Most of the time, we would have divided the job. We would have given different individuals specific tasks to perform. So in the course of performing these tasks, it becomes part and parcel of them, and they get better in it. So because they get better in it, it becomes their specialty. That's why they used to say division of labor leads to specialization. So what is division of labor? Division of labor is the breaking down of production process into different stages, and each stage can be performed by different people. So we have a school, we have divided the job to math, we have divided the jobs, we have the math teacher, we have the English teacher, we have the economics teacher, we have the biology teacher, we have the chemistry teacher. We've divided this job. So they continue to do, each teacher take the job, the task he or she has to perform. So she continues to perform the task, and he or she becomes a specialist. So we have divided the job for each, we have divided the task, and this task has become what they continuously do. At the end of it all, it becomes their specialty. That is why we say division of labor will lead to specialization. When you give someone a job, the person continues to do the job, he gets better in the job, it becomes a specialty. That is division of labor. So what are the advantages of division of labor or specialization? Number one, it reduces wastages. When you are given a job or a task to someone who understands or who knows the task well, it means the resources will be efficiently used. They will be used judiciously. There won't be wasting of resources. For example, when you tell a barber that barbs the hair to sew our clothes, it becomes difficult. It's just going to waste all the materials. That is what we're talking about. When you give a job, when there's specialization, resources are not going to be wasted because the person you are giving the job to or the person you are giving the task to understand the nitty-gritty of the task. So he's going to, or he or she is going to do it well without wasting any resources. Two, it saves time. When you give the job to someone who knows how to do the job, he's going to finish the job as soon as possible. He's not going to waste time doing the job because he knows the job or she knows the job well. So he or she will deliver at the right time. The third one, labor skills is used at its potential. With specialization, it means someone out there who knows how to do that job is doing it, is doing it to his best of ability. You know, when you give a job to someone who knows the job, that means he's going to use all his abilities to do the job or to get the job done. So division of labor or specialization will reduce wastage of resources. It will save time in terms of delivery, and it will also allow that specialist to use his or her best ability to perform the task. But it doesn't mean there are no problems using specialization. There are different problems in specialization or division of labor. Number one, boredom. We talk about boredom. When you continue to do the same thing every now and then, you get tired, it gets boring to you. And as a result of that, you might not be performing at your best. So that's one of the problems about specialization. When you continue to do the same thing every now and then, you get tired of doing it, and it could reduce the tempo, it could reduce the quality you used to give. Two, not flexible. With division of labor, well, with specialization, you become rigid to other jobs. You are unable to perform other tasks. So this is another problem about specialization. So you are so good at one job that it becomes difficult for you to multitask. You are unable to multitask. You can't do other things. When they give you other jobs, you say, no, I'm sorry, this is what I know how to do. I can't do this. So division of labor or specialization also becomes a problem when you are unable, when you become rigid to take up other tasks. You are not multitask. You can't do other things except that thing you know how to do. That's another problem. And the third one is overdependent. When you talk about overdependent, here we're talking about overdependent. We're talking about the individual, the company. The company now stays, without you, the company becomes vulnerable. They can't do anything without. This is for the business. With overdependence, means when we don't have Mr. A available, the operation will not be done. So it is every now and then we have to ensure that Mr. A is available. That means the business operation is dependent on the availability of that individual, which is also what a problem of specialization. So these are the problems of specialization. One, boredom, which means that the specialist could become tired and the job could become boring, which makes him or her not be able to give the quality as he or she used to give. Two, lack of flexibility. You become rigid as to perform multitask. You cannot do other tasks. You cannot perform other tasks because you're specialized. You are a specialist on one aspect. You can't do other aspects. And the third one is for the business, over-dependent. So you become so attached to that individual. Without that individual, your business would not go. So every now and then that individual, that specialist must be available, which is a problem. And the last one, which is on here, is specialist machines are always available. So as specialists, if you can perform this task as a specialist, they can build a machine that will perform the same task as you perform. Then that makes you to become redundant. So you might lose your job because you are a specialist. Because the business might think of reducing their cost by making a machine that will do exactly the same job you do. So these are about business activity. So I'm just going to quickly recap. We talked about the purpose of business activity. We talked about what a business is, which is what an activity that involves the buying and selling of goods and services. We have businesses because we have different objectives. So we are setting up a business because maybe we want to make profit. We want an added value. We want expansion. We want survival. We want to service the community. So those that have interest in the business activity are who we call the stakeholders. We have the government. Examples of stakeholders: we have government, we have employees, we have shareholders, we have the bank, we have the customers, we have the community. They have different interests, and this interest might become a conflict because each one might affect another. For example, when the employees might want an increase in salary, and wanting an increase in salary, the business might need to increase the price of their goods and services to meet up with the demand of their employees. And this means that customers might not be happy because customers, they want cheaper products, they want affordable products and quality products. So this is all about business, the purpose of business activity. Thank you.